70 partout.
What is going on, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream where we talk about news, current events, esoteric thoughts and knowledge, as well as our movie review. This week we'll be rounding up our Fish Out of Water month with Pathfinder from 2007, starring Carl Urban, Moon Bloodgood, Clancy Brown. With me as ever is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah,
How's it going, Andy?
I know this
I
week.
can see you this week. It's
Rob
great.
can see me. We have worked out the bugs of the stream tonight, so Rob doesn't have to imagine my handsome face. He can see it.
Yeah, no, that's usually what happens when we don't have a stream like one week. Is I'm just talking to a blank screen, so it was kind of a lot like that.
Yeah, he's like, Rob is the chief of this stream. The Rob is the chief to our Kill a Mockingbird stream over here.
That's right.
Yeah, but a lot of things going on right now. But we're covering the things that we feel are most pertinent. As opposed to just being sensational.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on right now. Some stuff we will get to, and then other things I'm just like, I'm good. I don't need to talk about it.
Exactly. I mean, not that they're not.
Mainly because I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, because part of me did want to talk about the whole, Christ is King, not like really controversy, especially being at the week of the Holy Week. As some of you may know, it's going to be Easter next Sunday, and so we begin the Holy Week, which started off with was it Palm Sunday, this past Sunday, the triumphal entry of Jesus Christ into the city of Jerusalem, and then going to Good Friday, of course, the day of his resurrection, and then Easter Sunday of his resurrection. But the stupid controversy popped off, and I mean, we're not gonna get into it, but it's just of all the weeks for this to come about, especially during the Holy Week. I think the energy could have got this is an energy suck is really what it is, because it's an attempt to get us, or at least those who hold similar viewpoints or ideologies to fight amongst each other, to keep us from fighting the real fight. That's so.
Yeah. What I have found interesting about this is all I'm gonna say on it, was that there were legitimate people who were actually not in a snarky way or whatever. They were asking, like, wait, Christians professing this, why is this a problem? Isn't that the whole point? And they actually were genuinely curious about, like, Christianity, and they wanted to learn more. And some people who were, maybe they were on the fence, they're like, well, it seems like all the people that I don't really care for that are, upset about this, they went out and they bought a Bible, and it's like, well, let me read this. So maybe in some weird way, it pushed people to the over the line, to where it's like, okay, I guess I'm buying a Bible now.
Right, it's like God's will be done regardless.
Right.
It's just like it's in the kind of the frown upside down of this controversy is that it got people curious of the Bible and like the word and like what it actually says. I guess in the grand scheme of things, I guess we could count that as a W.
But I love the idea of the people who so-called claim that they're Christians, yet they're twisting themselves into a pretzel trying to show how like saying this is anti-Semitic. It's like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, and it's, it's actually rather very disappointing, because like, prominent names. I mean, what, chiefly among them being Andrew Clavin, someone who I greatly admired before this, and I'm willing to give grace, but like, the way he like rends himself into like fitting the uh, really a proclamation of Christ as King into something that it's not. And it was just,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
it's
just
just
so
like, come
disappointing.
on,
I was just
man.
like, dude, like, talk about like the worst of the worst of worst takes.
Yeah, that was his was
Yeah,
one of the worst.
but yeah, I
I was
mean,
just like,
maybe
come on, man.
I don't.
But
Again,
hey,
we're not gonna talk about it, but like maybe if anything else like develops from this, like we'll discuss it. But as of right now, it's just like this is so stupid that I don't. It's other than this, it's not really worth bringing up or discussing any further.
yeah. But I just loved how like it pushed some people over the lines. Like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a Bible. I'm gonna figure this thing out. And yeah, it pushed them past the line. Just past the
Mm-hmm.
line of curiosity and actually taking steps to, if not becoming Christian yet, at least you diving deeper into it and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out. So I'll
Yeah,
take
I
that as a
mean,
win.
there's a bunch of phrases in Hebrew. Maybe Rob, you can help me out, but there's like not saying Christ is King, but like there's like Lord above all, the Lord of Lords, what is it? Yeah, there's
Oh,
so many in
there's so
Hebrew,
many.
that equate God with like as a king, and so
Yeah.
is though like is that phrase in Hebrew then like everything every other thing anti every other thing then anti
Well, I mean, you look at the Ten Commandments and like, that you shall not hold no other gods
mhm.
above me. I mean, that's essentially putting God as your king. They lived under a theocracy before they brought on, um, the kings of Israel. So
Yeah,
in
right. So is those are those
yeah,
Hebrew are
it's
those Hebrew I don't what's the word I'm looking for.
I'm drawing a blank on. I would have to do some digging to like refresh my memory, but I know there are many names of how God was talked about and uh, that kind of present him like maybe not necessarily with the words like as king, but like the
Right, like
connotation is
one I
that.
know for sure is like Adonai.
Yeah. Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
yeah.
so it's like are those Hebrew phrases then like anti-Christian?
No.
where's the ADL where's the Christian ADL offshoot?
Yeah.
But
It's just
yeah, this is all so stupid and contrived, and it's annoying more than it is offensive.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
bother
yeah.
me in
Again,
any
well, yeah.
way.
It's for me. Yeah, I just found it annoying as confusing. First confusing, and then now annoying because it's like, yeah. But again, the rending that like certain people have gone through to like make this simple phrase into something that is not. It's just really disappointing. But
Yeah. And you know what it also didn't make me want to do? Didn't make me want to
I
beat up
know,
a
right?
Jew or anything like that.
Well, I
So
mean, you and me, we already have our Jew cards. We're part of the tribe. Per Dan the man,
yeah,
per Dan the
that
man, we are
is
part of the
true.
tribe. All right.
Yeah, it's so dumb. But hey, what can you
Anyways,
do?
yeah. So, um,
Where should we start?
Let's start with the Gamergate stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here we go again.
Gamergate Redux
Fucking
2.0,
yeah,
the revenge, or some such nonsense.
the first one, that was kind of right around when we started doing the live stream, I think.
Yeah, that fall. I think it was like
That
2000.
was like
Well, we started the podcast in 2017, and then we started the live stream. I think year after.
the
Yeah,
year after that, wasn't it?
like middle of 18.
Yeah, so it was right around then when like the first one was kind of burgeoning with you have all these crazed feminist lefties that are trying to get into the gamer space and all that, and creating a bunch of controversy. And the main person around that was Anna Sarkeesian, and
But what
she
about
didn't
that?
go
What
away,
about that other chick?
unfortunately. She's
Zoe
oh
something.
Zoe, yeah, Zoe something.
Anyway, yeah, but
She
like
was
she was. I think she was more of the uh, political arm of that movement, and Anna Sarkeesian was more the cultural uh, arm of the wing of that movement. I mean, they
yeah, they
complemented each other for sure, but
they
Zoe Quinn. Oh yeah, Zoe Quinn. That's what he was. There it is.
Zoe Quinn, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there
she
you
was the one that was going in, in front of congressional hearings and whatever. So she was definitely the
Oh
political
my god.
part of that movement. And Anita Sarkeesian, sorry, Anita Sarkeesian, she was the one that she was like the cultural side of that. She was the one, you know, like and failing to create like media like a YouTube channel and videos and things like that, which she never did. She raised all this money to do it, but
She
she never accomplished.
she defrauded people. That's what she raised money through some, I think it was like a
Yeah.
GoFundMe or something like that, and she
Hmm.
defrauded her investors and never did what she said she was going to do, because she's a lying whore, like most
Yeah.
of these people. And it just it was kind of interesting because gamers are interesting. We don't Most of us don't care about politics. We just want to play the games and enjoy the games. And we have our, there's always the, oh, are you a Nintendo person? You a Sony person? That's kind of, or like back in the day, it's like, Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Right.
That was a whole big thing.
The
Like
factions
the
were
bit
merely
wars.
split upon like platforms. And
Yeah,
it wasn't even that serious. Because everyone had everything. So there's Nintendo people who swore up and down that Nintendo was good, but then they had PlayStations. You have PlayStation people who had who swore up and down that PlayStation was better, but then they had Xbox. And it was
oh, then you got the Xbox crew, but the reality is like we enjoy games. We just want to play good games with good stories. Um, and for a long time, there was none of this crap. I mean, sure, there was probably like, some um, people that like work in the games industry there's probably a lot of people that I would not agree with on anything politically, but we like games. That's cool. And we did have, for a time, actual good gaming journalism with people who cared about gaming, and they wanted to get out good information to gamers about, like, what's coming up next, like what's giving kind of like a nice preview to certain games, like, hey, check this out, this is going to be fun. um I think a channel that does really good, as far as, I wouldn't say it's like it's I wouldn't say it's maybe journalism, but as far as like they it's a Sony channel, but and they do a good job of promoting a whole wide variety of
mhm.
PlayStation games. Like, hey, what's coming up next? What are some good classics from the past you should check out? Stuff like that, and PlayStation Access channel. They do a great job. But yeah, Gamergate is back because since the time of the first one, you know, Anna Sarkeesian has done her job, and as far as worming her way into these gaming companies, into the journalistic arm of the gaming area, and essentially it's a virus that has taken over, uh, big swaths of the gaming industry, where you now have, I think I don't know how, like, how this whole, what the Sweet Baby Inc. thing was, but essentially it was about the essentially trying to they pretty much hate gamers. They want to eliminate. Oh, we need to eliminate all toxic gamers. We need to get rid of these people who don't buy in to our radical
Right.
ideologies.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
I mean, because I'm not a gamer.
yeah,
I'm not.
essentially
Because
what's
I'm not a
been
gamer. I'm
happening.
not like. I didn't really follow it because it wasn't really super interesting. I mean, I was interested. I
It's
was interested in as
yeah,
far as like the cultural aspects, but in terms of like the
right.
gaming culture, I was less interested. But from what this is like the normie understanding of it. Sweet Baby, whatever, is like a consulting group, whatever, and then like they try to like they
Yeah,
try
that's
to like insinuate themselves into it's basically like HR departments. They are essentially trying to like weasel their way into gaming companies to dictate like, oh, what should be in the games and what shouldn't be in the games. Like, oh, like that girl's ass in that game is not realistic at all. You have to pancake
it's
that
a
ass.
mafia front. It's like,
Or whatever.
it's a nice company you have here. Shame
Yeah, exactly.
shame if anything happened
It's a
to it.
mob
That's what
takeover
people are.
essentially.
Yeah, and people are like up. A lot of gamers like, okay, well, if where they are essentially they're onto what these people are doing, and oh, are this developer or this journalistic arm is buying into them. Okay, well, we're just done uh you know buying games from that company, or going to those sites, because we just know it's garbage. And I think people, well, gamers especially, they a lot of them are just, they're done with this. It's like, no, I just want to play the fucking games. Like, I don't want to have this. Let me have this one arm where it's not just insane and insanity. And the best part, and we have a lot of good people that have been covering this, that have been covering it since like way back when. And speaking of like other really stupid ass takes, we're not making fun of the Daily Wire today, but man, they are really like they stepped in a lot, like the last couple of weeks. Like Matt Walsh like came in, is like, because he doesn't like games. That's fine. He's not a gamer. It's all good. But he brought this up on like one of his segments on his show, and talking about like he was so shocked at like how the gaming industry has actually made more money than films, and it's not even close.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. This is
it's
dude, I should
they're
get a
more
soundboard
financially
and like like it's just like 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 the great John McClane. Welcome to the party, pal.
yeah.
I
We
know.
should get a soundboard. But no, it's crazy because he's just coming as like he's breaking the news that this is happening. And it's like, oh, and it's never been talked about until today. It's
Right?
like,
Or no, no. Well,
are you
until
an
I
idiot?
talked about it, and you see the arrogance of the
Yeah.
ecosystem. It was like, oh, because I'm talking about it, that means it's important.
I mean, and to one degree, I'm like, it's, if he's just saying it's like, I'm coming to this, and it seems like a lot of people have been talking about this, but this is, now it's coming into my purview, and I want to talk about it. Great. He's got a wide audience, but the fact that he's essentially like, now it's never been talked about until today. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's like, just stop.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that's been known for like at the very least a decade. You know?
Just, I love it. I love. It's so stupid. Like all this stuff that we've talked about so far. This should be a rallying cry for people who are just we're tired of these people. But no, we have to have like our side constantly fucking shoots itself in the foot every time. Anytime we have some sort of semblance of momentum or victory, it's like, oh well, let me try to take out my gun. Oh no, I shot my foot again. That's what happens every fucking time.
It's like it's. I mean, yeah, people on our side are always the FUD. We're always the FUD. We're never bugs. I mean, sometimes we are bugs, but a lot of the time, like specifically these cultural issue things, we're the FUDs. We're the ones, or at least, yeah, we're portrayed as the ones that are like behind, or or just coming to this realization. It's like that Chappelle bit, where it's like, you know, uh, white people didn't know black people were suffering from police brutality until it came, it appeared in the Times, or Newsweek. It's like, oh, honey, it seems like the Negroes have been being beaten like hotcakes. You know?
That's
Yeah.
so dumb. Yeah, it's like, God, our side sucks so bad.
Yeah, and I mean I mean, it's not our fault, but it's our side's fault for ceding ground. It's like, the left went in and took, the institutions, and not just academia, but journalism and entertainment, and we gave it to them, like, yeah, it doesn't, yeah, who cares about that stuff? It's like, Washington, that's where that's where all the power is. It's like, no, you dum dums.
That's what it's like when you cede every slice of life. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, political power does matter, and you're kind of taking care of that. But when you cede every aspect of culture as well, and you allow it to be taken over by the same people that are trying to take over the government, not a good thing. Because if they hold power over every single institution, education, politics, culture, you got
Yeah, I
nowhere to
mean,
go.
yeah,
There's nothing.
I mean,
Sports.
it's like no one ever did, like, it's like no one took the time to do the ratings for, Yo MTV Raps and, C-SPAN. No one bothered to, like, say, oh, like, the C-SPAN numbers are down, and Yo MTV Raps is, oh my god, look, millions of views.
Yeah. Oh, there was a time. There was a time when we had wasn't a complete shit show, but but yeah, it seems like there's gamers are wise to what's going on, and but these people they're working hard to come after these people, and there's even like where it's gotten to the point where some of these um, gaming platforms, I couldn't find any that were necessarily spelled out like who they were, but you can probably figure out most likely like Steam, probably Twitch, some of these big gaming and streaming platforms that they are willing to work with our lovely institutions like the FBI and Homeland Security to get rid of extreme gamers. Oh, got to get rid of those extreme ones.
Yeah, the ones that are fueled by Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Oh
kind of
boy.
related news. I heard that one of those gaming rags, basically filed for like bankruptcy or whatever, or went under. Kotaku or something.
Yeah, Kotaku is they're done. I
Mm.
think they fired everybody or well laid them off, but they ran themselves into the ground. It used to be a legitimate
Mm-hmm.
journalistic site. They did good work. And then for like the last decade, since the first Gamergate, I mean, they've been a shell of themselves, and it's like the virus ate them from the inside out and used the body of what used to be Kotaku to go around for as long as it did.
Yeah, and see that's why I don't think I don't think we should really fear uh, the left, quote unquote, because they don't ever create anything. They always they always infest and take over. It's well, yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
just like
just
the
think about it.
government.
Like they're not the ones that started journalism, or they're not the ones that started media, or they wasn't the one that started entertainment, but they took it over. They like parasites. They infested, and they infested the host body, and just started it started taking over and taking the control over it. But they themselves didn't create it.
Yeah, and we've always said this. If you at least when it comes to like movies, but yeah, like a lot of like the big franchises, they're ones that are just like that are super popular. It's like, well, what if we had the main character, we're gonna turn him in, this, the straight white guy, we'll make that a black trans, a
Disabled
black
lesbian,
trans person for the lead.
black trans
And,
disabled
yeah, the
lesbian.
disabled, yeah.
I know you're
I'm
crazy.
sorry, I didn't check all the
How
boxes.
dare you, Robert?
Um,
From Haiti,
from Haiti. Yeah,
right?
and
And it's a
then,
story about barbecue, but we're
let's,
gonna stick a chicken and make it gay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it's
Admittedly, that's a pretty
that's
badass
what's
nickname.
happening.
Admittedly, that's a pretty
Huh?
badass nickname, barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Oh shit, barbecue's
But
coming.
yeah, I mean, but they'll take yeah. But they'll take Omar's coming, barbecue's coming. Um, but yeah, they'll take these, big franchise names that, hold a lot of weight, and they will kind of wear it as a a skin,
Yeah, a la the
and they'll use that to
yeah, a
pump
la
out the
the a
trash.
la what is it? In Men in Black with Vincent D'Onofrio's character. Yeah,
That's exactly what they're
that's
doing.
exactly what they're doing.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that. It's kind of good. We have gamers fighting back. We have uh you know shills from our side who have
Mm-hmm.
no idea what's going on, and they think that they're the only ones that we're the first to cover it. And it's like, shut up,
Like, honey,
just stop.
the
You're not
Negroes, honey, the
helping.
Negroes.
Yeah, they're not. You're not helping. Like, if you want to help, great, we'll take it. But it's okay if you don't know. If you don't care, that's fine. Or if like you don't know what's going on, that's also fine. But don't just don't jump into the pond with both feet like it's the first
Yeah,
time you're
don't Leroy
the
Jenkins
first person to
yourself.
ever jumped into the pond. Yeah. It's uh,
Yeah, see, I'm not. Yeah, see, I'm not into.
it's
Yeah,
so
see, I'm not into
annoying.
gaming, but I know all of the game. I know gaming culture.
We're a fun-loving people. That's all we care about
Yeah,
is having a good
and me in
time.
particular, because I'm basically the normie representative on this show. So yeah, but
Yeah.
I know the culture. I get all the memes. I know all the references. So so like
Yeah, I know you do.
I'll add my voice to the discussion, but I'm not gonna, I'm not the one that's gonna be out in front about it.
But yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more
Right.
development, some more
Wow. Yeah.
more stuff coming out about this as
Yeah.
the year goes on.
Really quickly before we go on to the next like planned topic, I'd like to quickly discuss the like now the official death of Star Wars. Um, in that George Lucas
Oh,
coming out and
speaking of
yeah,
altered franchises,
I mean, those of you who don't know, George Lucas essentially has uh, killed Star Wars by backing the very people he once called white slavers. Those of you who don't know, like, what is it? In like all of the industry rags, came out with the big headline like, oh, George Lucas backs Bob Iger. Basically in the
yeah,
what is it, in the proxy war that him between Bob Iger and one of the Disney board members. God, what's his name? His name slips my mind right now, but Nelson Peltz. There you go, Nelson Peltz. He's kind of like this guy's like he in on the board, but he was like saying, why the fuck are we making money? He was literally he's one of the only ones to just say it out loud. It's like, why aren't we making money? And so him and
yeah,
other like-minded shareholders have engaged in this kind of hostile takeover bid, trying to accrue as many shareholders on their side as possible to force more to vote people out and put more of their kind into the positions of power on the Disney board. But George Lucas came out and just basically took George Lucas, after his sale of Lucasfilm, was awarded a lot of money, but then also a lot of shares of the Disney stock. And I think he was one of the biggest majority shareholders. Um, yeah, and so
Jesus,
yeah, and I think Nelson Peltz was trying to court George Lucas to joining him, but for some unexplicable reason, he sided with the very group of people that killed his baby.
yeah. So it's I think what was it? Star Wars Theory talked about that too. He's like, dude, Star Wars is like, it's there's nothing good
Yeah,
new
I mean,
that's
yeah,
going
and
to
it's
be
just so
coming
funny
out
like that
after
after
that.
or about the time that this story broke about George Lucas joined the dark side essentially. They dropped the trailer for the Acolyte, which was like 4 years in the making, essentially. There's rumors that like it wasn't
Yeah,
like not a single frame of the show was filmed, but apparently they were able to put out a trailer, so something was filmed. But it quickly got ratioed. Probably one of the few times a Star Wars property got ratioed that severely.
yeah. Well, that's where like you just go back and you enjoy what is good. Um, and I'll always enjoy the original trilogy. I've come to really enjoy
As have I. As have I.
the prequels. Yeah. Now that like I've learned a little bit more as to what some of the struggles were and some of the ideas behind them that I didn't know when I was growing up, I was like, okay, now I'm like seeing like why these are actually
Yeah, I mean
pretty
even me,
decent.
because I was like, because I'm someone who is a big proponent of the machete viewing order for the original trilogy and the prequel trilogies.
Yeah.
And before I would always say you don't necessarily have to watch episode one, but particularly after the whole first season of Mandalorian and like then and like the behind the scenes stuff like and what's his face. Um, Dave Filoni, thank you.
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, kind of explaining why the one of my favorite lightsaber duels in all Star Wars, is in the Phantom Menace,
Isn't the Phantom
and why
Menace.
that is so significant, and just like like holy cow, that it makes so much sense now. So now like so
It's not just a song that's Duel of Fates, but it really is the fate for
right.
what's going to happen to Anakin.
Exactly. And so now I'm a full-throated supporter of watching episode 1 and 3, but in the machete order, which is you watch episode 4, 5, then you get
Four
it,
and
then you
five,
watch the prequels, and then you finish
then the
off with Return
prequels.
of the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fun way to watch it. I did it not that long ago, and
Right? Because
that was a
yeah,
lot
because
of fun.
especially like especially if you're trying to introduce Star Wars uh, to the next generation. And I know George Lucas. Well, fuck what George Lucas has to say from now on. But I know in the past he said like, oh no, I want everyone to watch it, in chronological order, so one to six. But that's not happening anymore, George. Because you sold out.
Yeah, and even like the last couple iterations of the Star Wars games, the uh Fallen Jedi and stuff like that. It's with what's his face
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Shameless.
Hmm.
They're really
I
good.
heard good thing. Yeah, I heard good things about the Star Wars games.
They're
Hmm.
really good. Which is great. I was like, yes, finally like a Star Wars game that it's single player. It's a single player experience. We get to just enjoy it. And there's actually a lot of good Star Wars games. To be honest, the surprisingly the Star Wars Legos games are really fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, because I'm not a huge gaming person, I never got into it. But I heard like I even heard like the Force Unleashed with like Star Killer was good. What is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
Force Unleashed is good.
Knights of the Old Republic is good.
Knights of the Old Republic is my favorite game, dude. That game
Dude,
is
the
so
the
amazing.
the trailers for those games, I love those trailers. I remember, like back,
Yeah.
back when I was a younger man, and they were put up on YouTube. I'd watch the entire like thing, like one like long movie, and it was beautiful, it was breathtaking. The graphics and everything was just amazing. And then when what is it? Knights of the Old Republic with God, what was that spin-off one? Uh, Fallen something
Oh,
or Secret Empire?
I know what you're
Yeah, but
talking about.
that trailer was, dude, it made me feel things, that like that Hollywood movies haven't made me feel, before. But it's just like
Right,
so
right.
good, like especially because it was like it's the one that focused on the two brothers.
Yeah, God, I can't remember what that game.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about, and I'm drawing a blank.
but yeah, I mean, just like I mean, again, I'm not a gamer. I never played those games, but just the trailers, the trailer for that game, it like made me feel things. It's like, oh my god, like this is so powerful because it's like, this empire, which I then later on learned about like the backstory of everything and how, the emperor of this third party is basically a Sith like reincarnation, and then he has like children through this possession, and they're not for the Republic, but they're not for the Sith Empire. So it's like, and
Right.
so it's like this weird like, so it's like this really weird balance thing. But then like one of the sons like is overtaken by the dark side, and then kills his twin brother, and it's like finally his then father recognizes him, and it's and finally
Yeah.
calls him son. It's like, whoa. But you could make the argument that
But yeah, it's
all of Star Wars is about fathers and sons.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
I
that in
mean, of
there.
course, you have Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, but then you have Anakin Skywalker and like what should have been his father figure in Qui Gon Jinn, but then you got the reluctant father of Obi Wan Kenobi. Um,
Which is
yeah.
essentially like his older brother.
Um, so and then Yeah, and then even and then in Rebels you had Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger. That's a reluctant father son uh, father son thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I said, I'm not gonna get froth at the mouth with whatever new shit's coming out. I'm just gonna enjoy the stuff that I do
Right.
know is good,
Yeah, it's
and I'm
right.
gonna
It was kind of
I'm gonna
like
enjoy
when
that.
Discovery came out. I checked out the first season and it was garbage, so I stopped watching. And then and I'm glad I did because like the stuff that I started hearing about it is like, oh my god, like this is Star Wars for people who hate Star Trek for people who hate Star Trek. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, who are you catering? Who
right.
is this being catered
And
to?
then yeah, and then I watched the first season of Picard. That was hot garbage. And again, it's like and it sucked, and it's also terrible because it was touted that Patrick Stewart had a big hand in he was kind of like the secret showrunner, and he had like a lot of input in the characterization of Jean-Luc Picard, which he played previously, but then it's just like
Right.
it was so god awful. It's like you just ruined your legacy. Like
Yeah,
I can I
pretty
like
much.
knowing where Jean-Luc Picard, turns out, like it taints like what came before, like the strong, capable, Starfleet captain now becomes like this, you know, weak, mealy mouth, like apologetic, oh, I'm sorry for being a white human male sort of character.
But that's the defeats the whole purpose of Star Trek. Star Trek is so far in the future where humanity has overcome, as far as like within Starfleet, like they've overcome the skin
Right? Yeah,
color
yeah. The
uh,
whole yeah the
uh,
exactly it's an
discrimination.
optimistic view of what humanity could be in the future, and it's they got to a point where like it no longer mattered what your skin color was, and nobody and everyone was above speaking in vulgarities and and crass
And even got to the point where they weren't
language.
even like, and even like when you get to Next Generation, like it's even like where some of the former enemies from the original series are now like among Starfleet. They're friends, and they've overcome some of
Right, yeah, and the
the issues that they
prejudices.
had.
Dude, and yeah, and then
Yeah. So it's
next
like this
generation,
is
they had guys in literal dress uniforms. Like they like the
yes,
guys wore skirts. If you check some of those,
yes.
if you check like the
It's like
first second season of the Next Generation, you'll see guys walking around in like Starfleet uniforms, but they're dresses, like they're skirts.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying
and
that
it's
I
just like
agree, but I'm just saying like
what?
the vision of the future that Star Trek paints is a hopeful one.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry that I was a
Yeah.
white human male. Huh. Gene Roddenberry is throwing up in his
Yeah.
grave. Seriously, he's pissed.
Right. I mean,
Oh, we haven't had a good
yeah, I
Star
know,
Wars
right?
rant in a while.
Um, yeah. So yeah, Star Trek not being
I
adapted.
remember when Last Jedi came out. That's
Oh
when we had
yeah.
the
Oh my God,
most
I
because
hated Last Jedi.
you were you were
I
so
hated
mad.
Last Jedi. I still hate Last Jedi. There's no redeeming value in that movie whatsoever.
Is that still your number one, like top of your shit pile of
Yes.
movies? That's your MacGruber.
That's my MacGruber.
Yeah, God.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
MacGruber is
MacGruber's
just
bad, but dude, Last Jedi just takes a huge shit on the wound that was left after freaking Force Awakens. You know that movie, that Last Jedi
And
was
I,
trying to
yeah,
give everyone gangrene.
yeah. Oh boy. As soon as as soon as we got where it opened up with Luke Skywalker throwing away the lightsabers, like,
I know when I saw
oh
that in
no,
theaters,
here we
like,
go.
what the fuck? Like that was literally my reaction. I was like, what the? Like he threw like that was like that was his daddy's. That was his daddy's. And then like he was like and he like he used it, and it's like it's not like holy shit. Where'd you get this? It's like yeet. You know, gone. I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
Let me drink my
green. You know,
green
green
milk out of this
alien. You know,
sea
titty milk.
cow. Ugh. But why don't we take it since we're shitting on stuff? Why don't we take a squat and talk about some
Yeah, let's
squatters?
do it. Yeah, for those of you who don't live on the internet like quite like how me and Rob do, yeah, there was a viral clip of this woman in New York who gets arrested for entering her own house, and that's because squatters had come in and taken over her home, a home that was previously owned by her parents, and who passed it down onto her, but because
Yeah,
of these stupid squatter rights laws that are in many metropolitan cities. If someone takes up residence that's for 30 days, they have a legal claim, and you can't just toss them out through using the police. You have to go through the court system.
why? That first of all, it's like why would that even be allowed? Like if this was 50 years ago, it's like get off my property
Yeah,
or I will shoot.
I
What?
know it's
Oh, I want to know like now like I'm actually curious enough where I want to do some research on why those laws even exist. It's probably because of some I have a feeling it was because you have some bleeding heart liberals like,
likely a
well,
woman,
it's
likely a
kind of
woman,
sad that likely a woman, likely.
right?
Not
Likely a
necessarily,
woman.
but
It could be
uh
just a pussy man, like that fucking junior senator from Tennessee whose mom wrote him a fucking letter, pulling at his heartstring, and then women got the right to vote. That's a true story, everybody. Look it up.
I know it is. It is. He's like Andy just wants to be alive. Like what was that? Because that's like well a little over 100 years ago now. And it's he's like I want to talk
And I want to,
about
yeah, I want to
Senator.
go there and fucking kick him in the.
I want to
I
I
want to
want to give
fucking
him a
kick him,
piece of my mind.
where his testicles should be. I know
Not gonna
exactly.
do much.
I know, but it'll make me feel better.
But yeah, the fact that like and then first of all, you have to be extremely careful
Mm-hmm.
who you let into your house for one, because it might be possible they don't leave. And it's it sounds crazy, but this has been in our society for a long time now because hell, I remember it was a whole storyline in Shameless. They where Fiona was she bought this apartment building and there was something she felt sorry for somebody, and so she's like, "Well, why don't you come stay with me, and we'll I feel bad because this thing happened while you were working on the apartment building, and just like well, uh, no problem, get back on your feet, whatever." And they never left, and it took this insane craziness to get them the
Yeah,
hell
I
out of
mean,
there.
that was also kind of the storyline in a Simpsons episode. With the Carnies,
That's right with the The Carnies, yeah, that goes
Hmm.
even further back than that. That's
Yeah.
like 25 years ago. With before what's his face from the
Jim Varney.
Ernest movies.
Hmm.
Yeah, Jim Varney. Thank you. Yeah, he was
Yeah, yeah,
voicing one
yeah.
of the Carnies.
But
Oh,
I know.
rest in peace, buddy. I love Jim Varney.
Hey, Vern.
Eddie Byrne.
And he also voiced the Slinky Dog in Toy Story. Hmm.
That's right. That is him. Okay, I thought I knew who. I couldn't put
Yeah.
my
Oh yeah, and
finger
he
on
was
it.
also. This is a less known Disney movie, but it's one of my favorites. It's what is it? Atlantis Lost Kingdom. He played like the cookie, the cook on the expedition. Hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
really? I didn't know that. I mean, I did love the Ernest movies, especially Ernest Scared Stupid. Oh man, that is
uh,
just comic gold. I used to watch that movie because my grandfather had a lot of those movies. So like there was the one
mm,
where he goes to prison.
yeah.
That one is pretty decent. But Ernest Scared Stupid, I think I've watched that. I watched that a lot as a kid. We might have to cover that here. I would love to do Ernest
Yeah,
Scared
yeah. Make it
Stupid.
a whole Ernest month.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
But yeah, just
But yeah,
yeah, like I don't. Okay, if full admission, I don't own any property. But when I saw this video of like this, poor woman, losing her home, or losing her home to these people, and like just the flagrance of which these people took her home, and was and like they had the audacity to call the cops on her, and the cops for having their hands tied, and having to arrest this woman, just like it made me livid. You know.
yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, which is crazy, is because of this, there's that I don't know if you saw that there's actually like a vigilante group that is targeting
Oh.
squatters and
Hmm.
rooting them out of these places because the government has created a dumb law that is should be uh that needs to be
Hmm.
written out of the books. And because the government's not going to do anything, the courts aren't going to do anything. So that leaves it up to the people. Okay, our government has failed us. Now we have to do something. And they've been working at trying to expose these people, and get them the hell out of these places. Like there's like this guy who's gone around and to these homes he can't afford to rent. He's living in these $1 million homes where I mean he makes good money. Like don't get me wrong, he makes like $400,000 a year, but he's living in like a $50 million these like
Uh huh.
giant mansions and shit, and he can't afford to pay them pay the rent on those, but he just stays there and because of squatters' rights. And then you also have the with illegal immigrants where there are people that are giving these TikTok
Yeah.
seminars on
Yeah. There's this
squatters' rights
one
and like
Venezuelan kid or
essentially
whatever. He's basically like he gives them the game plan. It's like, oh yeah, go and find a house, an empty house, and just live in there for 30 days, and then they can't do anything about it. And it's so funny that
yeah,
that 30 days is all you need to take over somebody's home. 30 days. It's not 6 months. It's not a year. It's literally only a month, and you get to lay claim to someone else's property. Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, these people,
The
politicians, they're not scared of us, and I think, and I'm not advocating for this, but when the government no longer fulfills their duty, then regular people are gonna have to step in, and then you're gonna have something even worse. All right.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like, I know we kind of talked about this. When like the lockdowns were happening, and a lot of like pastors were citing Romans 13 and saying like, oh yeah, don't fight the government or whatever. Um, but it's I'm not saying that it was good that they used that to justify lockdown, but I'm saying like that wisdom is not wrong. It's like don't overthrow your government because what comes next is going to be worse. And also
Yeah.
the government the government is a servant to God. It's a diaconal. The government is a diaconal position, within like God's structure, because God gives hands the state the sword, so it stays out of yours. So you don't take
Yeah.
justice for yourself.
Yeah, that was kind of like the one thing where the uniqueness of the forming of the United States was that we already kind of were governing ourselves, and we had like a way that we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be governed, and you had a plan. So that way, if we can get England out of our lives, nothing's really going to change too much because we already have a
Mm-hmm.
plan that's already
Right. The
here,
system was
essentially.
already Yeah, the
That's where, like,
system
yeah,
was
but
in place and it was working, but no, England, or yeah, England would every once in a while poke its nose into our affairs, and then try to make changes.
yeah. Um, and whereas, like, you look at like the French Revolution, uh, not uh, not really a good thing because they had no plan.
Right.
It was just like we gotta get rid
Yeah,
of
and
these people. Well, what's gonna happen
exactly.
after that?
Another uniqueness. Another another unique thing about the American Revolution was that it was top down, as opposed to the French
Yeah,
Revolution, which was bottom up. So like your peasant, in the French Revolution, the peasant class, who were just filled with anger and resentment, rose up and just started killing all of the rich people. But in the American
yeah,
Revolution, it was the landowners, the rich folk who were like, hey, this isn't fair. We pretty much have things handled here, and then England comes in and sticks their nose in and messes up with our shit. And that's not right. And
yeah,
so and they actually came up with a plan. And they came up with an after plan. You know, and so
yeah,
that's the different. That's the two major differences between the American Revolution and the French Revolution. And right,
French did it wrong. We did it correct.
yeah, and so yeah, these like, and I understand that need that feeling of needing to get or rising up for vigilante justice, because like when I watched that movie, it's like, oh my god, I want to go and like I basically want to become a vigilante, and I want to like
Yeah,
and I want to do something, and I want to like force these people out of these homes that don't belong to them. But again, I know
yeah.
like
It's and
that's not the right thing to do. That's not the move. That's not the move.
yeah. I don't like this. I want to figure out what the because it seems like I said I don't know if I would imagine if you go to like a rural county somewhere, it's you're probably not going to have these
Mm-hmm.
same laws, depending on like where you're going. But most major metropolitan coastal states, this
Mm-hmm.
is a reality, and we have to, I think, look into one why these laws were created. You have to either maybe there have if not just completely abolished, as far as figuring out like what was the purpose, is that a purpose that serves anything anymore? And if there is some sort of goodness to that, okay, well, let's figure out, like, let's weed out all the things that
Right.
are stupid
Right. You're
that people
right.
take
Yeah.
advantage of.
Yeah. Because
Let's
maybe
close
at
those
one point
loopholes.
there was a purpose for this water's rights. And it might have served a good purpose. But now, in this day and age, I don't. It's my personal opinion that the squat like the squatter laws no longer fit for purpose.
Yeah.
But hey, again, like yeah, we like I'm again, I guess to kind of quell that feeling for wanting justice. Yeah, is another way to like divert that energy is to like look into like why these laws exist. When did they first were enacted, and for what reason, and then finding a way to do away with these laws.
Yeah, I agree. That's really the key. You gotta we have to is dude, trust me, the what those people are doing, I think, is a good thing. But yeah, I think it is important to let's figure out how these got started, why they got started. Was there some sort of purpose to them, like a good purpose as to why they were even created? Because it seems like they're in a lot of places. So you got to figure out, was there something that it was used for, and because stuff is not as well defined, people are finding the loopholes and taking advantage of that. Okay, well, let's take what's good out of that. Let's close those loopholes. Uh, or if there's no goodness to it, well, fuck it, throw them out. Let's get rid of these laws, and you gotta pepper these people. Uh, it's funny. Complaining is really your only option at this point. It's like you have to annoy them to the point where it's like, we got to do something about this because I'm tired of fielding 300 phone calls every day on this fucking topic. That's the only way. That's really the only way.
Yeah,
You have to annoy them to the point where they have to move.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, this will be your second Simpsons reference for the show, but when Marge went up against the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons, and then
Yeah.
it's like first it was just her writing the letters, and then like more like as she got more attention, you know, truckloads of letters were being dropped off at the animation studios, and it's well,
Yeah. The screwballs have
yeah.
spoken. It was like when Mo Rocco was voicing
Yeah,
um uh what's his face from the head of the Itchy and Scratchy Studios.
yeah. For those of you who
But
um, what is it, Mo Rocco? He also played Mo Green in Godfather.
yeah,
He was
fuck yeah, he
he
did.
was what is it? He was an amalgamation of characters, but he was most likely the character or the figure known as Bugsy Siegel.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard as well. That's probably where that
Yeah.
character came
So for
from.
those of you who don't know, like yeah, Bugsy Siegel was like this gangster type person. He was, I mean, he's not recognized, but he wasn't officially recognized, but he's recognized by a lot of people as the person who founded Las Vegas, like the idea of Las Vegas.
Yep. That's yeah. It's Las Vegas was essentially a criminal town that was
Yeah, yeah,
formed by the mafia. It's like that.
yeah,
That's so funny. I don't. It's funny to me.
yeah. Because it was before Las Vegas was just like it was like proverbial one horse town. I think like the mob was using it to like as a almost like a way station to for their for their money and their drugs and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It's a money laundering scheme. That's what it is.
No, but before that, but it was just
It's
like it was
funny
literally
too
like
because
a way station, like that was like that had literally like one like there's like a train depot
yeah,
where it's like the stopping point where like soldiers before they were sent off to different like military bases in the United States. Um,
yeah.
they had some gambling,
It's
they had
funny.
some women, but it was like it was like literally like a one horse town with just like the train station, and then and they use that place to just like launder their money and like as a hub to like distribute their drugs. But yeah, but then Bugsy Siegel came along and he had a different vision.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just watching the Godfather before we got on stream today, and it's like I got to the point where we see Michael Corleone shot Salazzo and McCluskey, and they're Vito comes back home, and Sonny's kind of laying out like what the plan is. It's like, and I'm letting Fredo's gonna go. I'm gonna send him off to Las Vegas. I'm gonna learn the casino business. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Fredo, what if he had been the Godfather?
What a different movie that would have been.
It would have been so. I want there to be like a comedy of like Fredo taking over as the Godfather. We should write some fan fiction on that.
I'm smart. I got ideas.
What would have been his plan?
I know, right?
That's what I wanted. Like, what would have been his plan?
Yeah, every unimpressive man, has like kind of like has that thunderous response, like like I'm smart. I have ideas. It's like, oh yeah, what's one of them? It's like, well,
yeah.
Doing the drugs. It's like we're already doing that, Fredo. It's like, yeah, I know, but it's like more. Yeah, more.
Keep doing it. Oh, poor Fredo. Such a great movie, though. I fucking love The Godfather. It's never not good. No matter how many times you watch it, it's still really good. It was funny. Something I noticed this time that I didn't notice before. So we know how like Marlon Brando, like kind of to get into the character, Vito Corleone, he had like the cotton balls in his mouth to kind of give him that.
Yeah,
give him off, or he can't refuse. You know what? Something that if you look at when you first see Michael, he has a very similar style look to him. The way that his cheeks are done, I don't know if that was something that maybe Al Pacino was trying to do to make it look like, oh, I'm this person's son, so I have to have a similar look to him.
I never noticed. I know he does. Like, he kind of unintentionally gets similar cheeks, but only because he gets his face beaten in by the police chief. But
it's before that. Yeah.
Okay. Next time I watch, I have to take a closer look at Al Pacino's face.
Yeah, something I was like, maybe I'm crazy, but it looks. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if many people caught that. I'll have to text Eric and see if he agrees.
Yeah,
give him a reason to watch The Godfather again.
Expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, dude, we have to get together and do an episode. Because like I specifically want to talk about Back to the Future. Because again, like, I have a theory that I definitely want both of your guys' input, or I want to discuss this.
Ooh, okay,
which I'm
I'm interested.
If it's unique, if I uniquely came up with it, or if it's something that's that's already kind of out there, but to my knowledge, I haven't come across this theory before.
Just like the theory that we came up
Yeah,
with for Training Day.
exactly. Mm,
That's such a good movie. I fucking love Training Day too. There's so many
yeah.
good movies out there. But yeah, I would love to hear. I would love to talk
Mm.
about Back to the Future. We can incorporate his stuff with Back
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah,
Valley.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we should reach out to him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anything else to add to the squatters thing?
Fuck them. Fuck the squatters. Honestly, like, but seriously, it's made me think twice. Like, man, you got to be careful who you let into your house. And yeah, honestly, like, I would, I think this is gonna make people more weary of inviting people over, any sort of thing like that, because these people
Yeah.
might never leave, and then they change the locks on you and they stay in your house, or like, and the other thing too, never ever tell people that you're going on vacation, because you could come back, somebody breaks in
Mm.
your house and they just stay there.
Yeah.
This is like, with social media and shit. You go out on vacation for a
Right.
while.
That's
These people just never don't post your picture. I mean,
yeah.
post
A
your pictures,
delay.
but do
Yeah.
it
Do a
after you
delay.
come back.
Don't do. What is it? What's that phrase? Don't live share your vacation. Go on your vacation, snap your pictures, and then when you
Yeah,
get back home, then then post.
that's what I do. Well, yeah, take all the pictures you want. Do all that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
important.
Create memories. Yeah.
Don't share
Create
it with
memories.
everybody until.
We're not saying not to create memories, but just wait till you get back home to share them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care like how awesome, how beautiful that sunset is with the double rainbows. All right, you snap a picture of it and you post it later when you get home. I know,
That's still
double
funny to me.
rainbows.
Dude is
I
crying
know,
over the
double
fucking double
rainbows all
rainbow.
the way
It's like,
across the sky. Oh!
that guy was either very drunk
Yeah,
or very high. I
maybe a little
can't
bit of
tell
both.
which. Or he was just a sissy.
Or he was like doing a speedball.
Oh, yeah. He got inspired by watching Requiem for a Dream. Jesus. But yeah, we can get into the movie review. I don't think I have anything else to say about the squatters stuff, but yeah, just it's crazy, man. It's just weird that how stuff becomes super, how gets caught up in the zeitgeist. Because honestly, when these laws come about, shouldn't that be the time where we're battling these things? Shouldn't it have been like way back then? And that's why I'm like, part of me is wondering, because it probably came about before I had any sort of political knowledge or power or anything. Maybe even before I was born. And maybe there was a good idea behind it, and we got to just figure out like what that was. But maybe it's just a bad law and it needs to go away, and we need to prosecute these people. Which, prosecuting anybody nowadays, I mean, fuck, we're gonna talk about that next week, where they can't even they can't even like prosecute pedophiles and people who are like molesting kids half the time. So fuck, dude. It pisses me off.
Initial Google search of where squatter rights came from, and again, we have to thank the British for it. It comes from their property law.
Oh God.
Thanks a lot, you limey.
So does this go back? Like how far does that go back? Is this like a recent like British thing that
No,
we
no,
just
it's an
adopted,
old.
or was this like back?
From what this article says, it comes from like old timey Brit, like landowners. And it's like kind of, and it's a it was a way squatter rights were originally drawn from Great Britain's property laws, which distinguished the line where each property owner's land begins and ends. The law also came about as a result of residents in larger cities seeking affordable housing and protections.
Oh boy. So like I said, maybe there was some. So we're going way back then. So we're going back to what, almost the founding of the country
Something
at
like
this
that.
point. Then Jesus. So then it's probably something that's maybe a little bit more on the side of something that we need the loopholes closed on that then.
Oh well, here's I'm just skimming, but trespassing is a criminal offense. Squatting, however, doesn't always meet the criteria of criminal behavior, as it is typically done in a civil manner. Squatting arguably only becomes illegal if the landlord has clearly established that the squatters are unwelcome on their property. So I mean, I guess
So there,
in the
so
example
so what you're
of
saying,
The Simpsons and Shameless, the people were invited into the home. Yeah.
they were invited in. So essentially,
Yes,
squatters
you have to
are
invite them in.
vampires. Don't let them in.
Yeah,
Don't
there
let
you go.
anybody in your house, folks. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this article more.
Yeah, send me the link. I'll take a look at it. I want to. Maybe
All right, for sure.
we'll
Oh
talk
yeah,
more
this is
about
like
it.
specific. Yeah, I guess this is a lawyer out of San Francisco. I guess it deals with California rights, which would be appropriate since we live in California. Yeah, but I'll send you the link
Yeah.
later. All right.
All right.
Anyways,
Cool.
all right. Since we're done with topics for tonight, I guess that leaves nothing but our movie review. So I'll read the synopsis and we'll get going. Just to remind you all, the movie review tonight is for Pathfinder from 2007, starring Carl Urban, Moon Bloodgood, Clancy Brown, Ken Jones. Oh, no Wes Studi this time.
No. I was maybe thinking he might be in this
Yeah.
one, but no, he was not.
All right, let me hit everyone with the synopsis.
That would have been my third West Studi film in the past month.
Yeah, he's the Indian Samuel Jackson. He's in everything. All right.
Yeah.
A Viking boy nicknamed Ghost is adopted by the Wampanoag tribe after surviving a shipwreck. Despite a legend that death and destruction will follow the boy wherever he travels, over the course of a decade, the young Norseman grows into a fierce warrior and battles against rampaging Vikings who slaughter their tribes. He defends the woman he loves by waging a one-man war against his countrymen and becomes the savior and defender of the Wampanoag people. Again, this movie came out in 2007, 20th Century Studios, director Marcus Nispel.
Yeah, this is I never heard of this film back in 2007. This is a completely new movie to me. Was this
This
your
was my
first time
first time
watching it,
watching it as well.
or
I was aware of
had
this movie, but I never got around to watching it. And I thought it was and I thought that it
what
was a pretty
what
interesting
what
premise, especially it was still like it was about the time where the idea of Vikings and or Norse people in the Americas was still mostly a novel concept.
But yeah, because one of the early the before Christopher Columbus came out out to the Americas, um I think it's been readily known now that Leif Erikson, which is one of the earlier Vikings, like back in the early like 11th century, had made his way into the Americas. And so it's kind of like the legends of like what you know this story is kind of based off the idea, okay, the Vikings made their way, like what and people make up stories, like, because no one really knows exactly what happened back then. You get an idea based off of maybe some archaeological finds, stuff like that. But yeah, you don't really know exactly. So it leaves not like you get people who good imaginations. Well, let's come up with a story about that. And the obviously this one is more where the Vikings are the bad guys, which which is cool. But this whole story kind of it's like an amalgamation of some really great movies. It has a little bit of 13th Warrior in there, has a little bit of Cliffhanger in there, a little bit of The Highlander in there, all sorts of like great stuff. I mean, with Clancy
Yeah,
Brown,
you
how
can't
can it not be?
help but think of the Highlander, especially in the costuming
Yeah,
design.
and dude, the costumes were fucking dope. I love the look of the costumes. I I just overall I thought the movie was very cool. And I know it didn't do well. It had like a $40 million budget. It made like
Yeah.
$30 million, but the DVD sales, push it up, because the DVD sales were boosted it by another 22 million. So they made their money. They made their money back, plus with like a little bit of profit, because this was one of those films I don't think got a lot of media exposure, because I don't
No,
remember
it
this
didn't.
at
Yeah.
all. And especially with 2007, you had the big heavy hitters like There Will Be Blood. You had No Country for Old Men. Trying to think what else came out in 2007. There were some other big movies that year that this definitely got
Yeah.
overshadowed. So, but yeah, what do you the idea of our character played by Carl Urban? He is a young kid with the invading Viking tribe, who they're trying to take over the Americas for themselves, and they're gonna slaughter all of the natives that they find. And when he is like, well, let my son
Right. Well,
handle
he's put
this,
to the test by his
he
father
can't
to
do it.
kill, an Indian baby, and he refuses. His father severely punishes him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he flogs him.
And then and
Oh
kills the baby
man, that was
himself.
that
Yeah,
was
that was
that was
rough.
rough. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a rough scene. Yeah, we don't know his name at the point, but he becomes the character Ghost. That's because he ends up getting adopted by
Yeah. Wampanoag woman.
the
Yeah.
one of the native tribes.
Yeah.
And that's and then they have this conversation about like, oh well, when he grows up, that the blood is like the blood of the people that are
He's gonna be
invading.
one of
Like
them.
he's
He's gonna be,
gonna
he's
it's
gonna become one of them. So and like yeah, so they have like yes, they have like the tribal meeting, and they're all concerned. It's like, oh, he's one of them. He's one of the enemy. But the woman that finds him, argues for on his behalf, saying like, he doesn't have to be that way. He can be one of us. And if we kill him now when he's the most helpless, then who really are the monsters?
Yeah, which is it's the idea, the argument of nature versus nurture, and
Mhm.
she has a point. So they kill our babies, so we're gonna kill their babies. Yeah, I don't think that's not a. And look at what they
Yeah,
did
yeah,
to
yeah.
him. And for a time, he grows up, and we get Carl Urban, who looks amazing. Dude, he looks sick in that costume.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah, this is pre-beard Carl Urban.
Yeah, yeah, pre-beard Carl Urban. He
Yeah.
looks good
Yeah,
without
I
the beard,
remember
to be
him
honest.
from what is it? The old TV show like Hercules and Xena. Yeah.
Was he
He
in
played a
that?
bunch of different characters, but I think most prominently in Xena, he plays Julius Caesar. Yeah, and
Oh
he
shit.
was a
That's
really good
right.
Julius
That
Caesar.
is him. Yeah, I could totally see that. In the remake of
Hmm.
Judge Dredd,
No,
did
no,
he
he was
have a
clean
beard
shaven
in
for
that?
that. Yeah, so
He
keeping
was
in
clean shaven.
character
Okay, that's what I thought.
with the comic books.
Okay, yeah. I still need to watch Stallone's Judge Dredd, and I want to watch
Oh,
the
I like
Carl
both.
Urban one.
I like them both for like different reasons. And I mean, I know
I've
a lot of
heard
people
both.
complain about Stallone's one because he's constantly taking off his helmet. Whereas in the comic books he's always wearing his helmet, and like it's kind of the mystique behind the Dread character. Yeah, because you don't
You
know
don't
who
know
he
who
is.
he is.
He's kind of like Lady Justice. Like he has no face, he has no identity beyond like he's a lawman. Um, but in the Stallone one, like in the
Yeah,
Stallone one, like
I've
yeah,
heard
we're
good
constantly
things
seeing
about
his
both.
face. We're constantly given backstory about Dredd, and it's like we don't care. We just want him to be this hyper competent, slightly distant lawman.
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah, but
that's
again,
yeah.
I
But yeah,
love
Carl
both. I
Urban
love
looks. I
both
think he looks
iterations, but for different reasons.
different. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to check them both out. But yeah, I love the look of Carl Urban. I think he looks great. We don't really get a whole bunch of time with the tribe that he gets adopted by. I mean, we get enough where they're transitioning. I think with like the chief, the Pathfinder is getting older, and he's trying to pass on like the who's going to be the next Pathfinder, and Ghost wants to be that person, but it's like you don't have the right blood. You can't be the Pathfinder. And so he goes off to do, I forget what he's trying to do. I
Yeah,
think
he
he
went to
went to
go
go
hunting.
hunting or something. And that's when all
Yeah,
hell breaks
that's when the
loose
Vikings come back and
in the
attack the village and
villages.
like kill like his family. His adoptive parents, his adoptive sister.
Estimates. Well, and they also have more
Yeah, they
advanced
have
technology
armor, they have
because they have
swords.
like, yeah, and like they're fighting with bows and arrows and wooden weapons,
Yeah, or
which do
they
nothing.
have flint tipped arrows, whereas the Vikings have you know steel or iron tipped arrows. So
Whereas, well, so Ghost does have a sword from
mhm.
his time with the Vikings. I think like his mom, like because I remember like when his adoptive mom found him
Right, yeah,
on
yeah.
that ghost ship
He
that
was
was
like
there,
hiding behind a dead Viking. Hmm.
but he had that sword, and I think that sword is the sword that he
Hmm.
has later.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
So, so then he, with everyone decimated, he I think goes to. Was he trying to track the Vikings down, or was he going to warn the next village? Because they were. It sounds. I think they was trying to warn the next village because it was the idea of the Vikings will leave one person to survive
Right.
and then follow them
But I don't
as
know.
they go to
Yeah,
find.
yeah. But I was always curious about that, or I was curious about that because like because when he did find them, he said to they said he said to kill. He asked of them to kill him, but it's just like
Mm.
but if it was so that the Vikings wouldn't be able to find him or track him, then why even bother tracking the other village? Why didn't he just like lead the Vikings away?
I don't know. I to be honest, I have no
That part
idea.
confused
That's
me.
maybe like one of the
That part
weaknesses.
confused me.
Yeah, that's one of the weaknesses of the
Mm-hmm.
film a little bit. Just because it doesn't seem the plan doesn't
Right.
seem very cohesive. But well, I guess like that's not super important. Like what is important is like Vikings bad,
Mm-hmm.
natives good, and we're obviously we're rooting for the natives. We want them to fucking kick the
Mm-hmm.
shit out of these guys, and it was so he meets up with that other village and is like warning them about these guys, like, hey, these are
Mm-hmm.
dangerous people. They will kill you.
Right. Yeah.
You
They
don't
have
have
better
a shot.
weapons. They have better armor.
I have a plan, but we have to have a methodical plan. And what was so this part it was so frustrating. Like Ghost had set up this whole like elaborate thing. He was guerrilla
Right.
fighting these guys because he kind of knows their tactics and like, but he knows he's only one man against an army essentially. And so but he systematically starts taking these guys out, and he lays that huge trap with like the spikes and everything. And that, but there's the one guy from
Yeah. The
that
rival. The
tribe
rival.
who the rival for what's her face's
Yeah.
hand essentially, for her love, Starfire, for Starfire's affection. And he's like, no, we're gonna come at these guys face on. And you just hear them all like hooping and hollering and running out to the
Eh,
where the trap is. And he's like, no, you fucking. And I'm like, no, you idiot! Like you're gonna die. It's like, no, you ruined everything. Because
Yeah.
Ghost was winning.
Yeah.
It
He
was
was messing people up.
this was he had a great plan. It was working. And that dude fucked everything up, and he killed the entire village outside of like maybe like
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 people. Like stupid ass. And then essentially they're on the run for like the entire
And then
movie.
they become the ones on the back foot.
Yeah. What do you think of like it was kind of cool where obviously we're following Ghost and the rest of the natives. So for us, we understand their language. We're hearing it in English, whereas all the Vikings are
Yeah, like
speaking in a
Scandinavian or
foreign
whatever.
language. They're yeah, dude, Clancy Brown. I think that was him
Yeah,
speaking
yeah.
the language because that he has
Hmm.
such a distinctive voice.
Yeah, so there's no way.
He was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
villain in this too. Dude, I love Clancy Brown. He's so good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, like dude, he plays it all. He plays a great villain. He plays a great hero. He does comedy. The guy is a
I haven't
treasure.
seen it. Yeah,
He's the voice
he
of
was even
he's the
for like
voice of Mr.
his very
Krabs. Yeah,
is he?
yeah.
No.
Are you just learning about this right now?
No.
I thought it was common knowledge.
Yes. No, I
Yeah,
didn't know
Clancy
this.
Brown is the voice of Mr. Krabs.
I knew he was the voice of Lex Luthor in the
That is
Superman
correct.
animated
Yeah,
series.
but he's also the voice of Mr. Krabs.
Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here. No. can't believe I can't believe it.
Just think about Mr. Krabs' voice, and then you'll start hearing Clancy Brown in it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, but he does a lot of different he does good voice work. He plays the villain, he plays the hero. I haven't seen a lot of his comedy
Well, I mean,
stuff
yeah, like
though.
I would categorize, Sponge. I would categorize him.
Well, I mean, obviously if you're
Yeah,
doing
that's
Mr.
comedy.
Krabs, that's comedy, but
Yeah.
damn, dude. I would have I'd never figured that out.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy this movie quite as much. Not to say that the premise isn't totally awesome, and like the costuming and stuff like that is good, is really good. Particularly the look of the Vikings. And I like, and I, and I remember, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
thought
that you reminded me that this is kind of like one of their legends about it. So it's like, so if it's told from the perspective of the Indians, then yes, like, because at first I thought like it was a little bit over the top the way that they were styled, but it's if the story is told from the perspective of the Indians, then yeah, they're gonna have a exaggerated they're gonna exaggerate the Vikings and like oh like they're like these huge men's and
yeah, of course. That and so
yeah
I think that works. That's why the Vikings look so like
right
monstrous and
exactly
imposing. And it's almost seems like they have like no shot. Like it's just this inevitable
hmm
doom that's coming.
yeah
That part's
that I
cool.
appreciated
I think the I think the where they how they filmed all this. I don't know if this is all like on location somewhere, but I thought like everything looked
well
really cool.
just looking it up really quickly I believe what was it location shooting was done in Vancouver, Canada.
That makes sense. I wonder if they filmed this the same place where they did 13th Warrior because it has a similar look to that.
Perhaps I mean if 13th Warrior was filmed in Vancouver then
It was
I see.
Vancouver Island is where they
I
filmed
see.
13th
Then
Warrior.
perhaps,
So
yeah, pretty close.
probably pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, another knock I'm gonna give against this movie is that you don't really, they don't use anybody's names. So like, you don't know
No.
Ghost is Ghost. You don't know Starfire is Starfire. You don't know what are the names? You don't know. Well, you don't know Jester is
So
Jester. Um, you don't know Blackwing is Blackwing.
yeah, so Carl
Mhm.
Urban is Ghost. Moon Bloodgood is Starfire. Clancy Brown's name is Gunnar. You have his second in command, Ralph Muller, as Ulfar. Russell Means. That's he's a famous
Yeah, yeah.
actor. He's in like Last of the Mohican stuff like that.
He's the
I
Pathfinder.
think
Yeah, but he was
he's
the
dead now.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, he's the Pathfinder. Nathaniel Archon is Wind and Tree. Yeah, then Jay Tabar was Blackwing. Kevin Loring is Jester,
Yeah.
and Dwayne Howard was the Elder. The but yeah, you're right. There's not if their name is said, it's very little, and you have to be paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
Or you're gonna miss it.
So it was for me hard for me to form connections with the characters. I mean, I would say overall I still enjoyed it.
Which is also the problem I had with the 13th
Um,
Warrior. It was the same thing.
yeah. So like, cause they're not calling each other
The
by their
idea.
name, so it's and it would have been really nice if like, they would we had a little bit more time of the young ghost character kind of uh, acclimating himself to the village and like and showing that his rival with Blackwing started from when they were very young and kind of like in Braveheart we have the young William Wallace and the young little girl kind of laying like planting the seed of like how like they're gonna get together in the future. Yeah, fall in love.
Fall in
Like
love.
I wish there was something like
Yeah,
that for the young Ghost character. That and then like and like
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
they just
It
needed a
just
little bit more. They just needed a little bit
and
more
this is
backstory. And I'm not even saying like an hour, like a quick like 15 minutes of him, daily life in the village. Him like meeting Blackwing, and then they're forming their rivalry. Not in terms of like maybe being warriors, and then also for like the affections of Starfire. Uh,
yeah. Because that's the part where the movie kind of fails a little bit as far as the
mhm.
character connections. Like it's still like the movie's still impactful, I think, to a degree. What is superb about the film, I think, is, well, one, the costume design is great. The I think them filming in Vancouver looks great. Little bleak
Yeah, the
and,
color
and
gradient
dreary,
I wasn't a huge
which
fan of.
is no. It felt a little too, like, I would have liked to seen more of like if you're gonna go to that degree, fucking just
Right.
make the movie black and white. At that
Hmm.
point, it's so close. Just
Hmm.
just go the whole way. Um, Whereas, like, if you're gonna, or you're losing, I think, like having the colors of Vancouver pop a little bit more, because at least with like the 13th Warrior, yes, it did have some bleakness at time, but that's because the weather was so bad. But you could still see like the color and the um some of the that stuff pop on camera. So there was definitely some filters that were used in this, and at that point, it's like just go the whole way, make it black and white. I think that would have made the movie like
Hmm.
really cool looking. You could kind of do the whole Ansel Adams thing too, like they're
Oh
on the
yeah.
mountains with the snow, and you can make
Yeah,
extreme
yeah,
whites,
yeah, yeah,
extreme
yeah. Give
blacks.
that
I
contrast.
think that would have been really cool. Yeah, uh, I would have liked them to at least pick a lane, choose one or the other. But the action, I think, is what makes this film interesting. The action scenes are fucking awesome. A little too much. There's a little bit too much slow mo for me at times. But that ending fight on like the mountain, that cliffhanger s
Yeah,
type scene that was going on.
yeah. I mean, it was a little ridiculous, but I still enjoyable for what it was. Um, I like the parting of wisdom from the older Pathfinder to Ghost, where it's like, oh,
Mm,
if you don't have the strength to kill the bear, use the bear's strength to kill it. And so yeah, that's
exactly,
what he
and
does. He
that's what he
slowly and
does.
again like slowly, methodically and systematically, reduces the number of the Viking horde.
Yeah, it just shows the
Hmm.
dude's super smart. Like he's um just ends up saving the day, and what was so when it came down to it, it's essentially
Hmm.
Starfire and Ghost left, and you're thinking that Ghost
Hmm.
is going to be the Pathfinder, but no, Starfire is made the Pathfinder.
Yeah,
What did you think about that?
I mean, I guess I can't be too mad because this is prior to like all of like the madness of like DEI and inclusion and stick a chicken or make it gay, and like
Right.
subverting expectations. Um, it was still slightly annoying, but I understand because even the Pathfinder told them like, "Oh, you have a different path." It's like, and then he's like, "You already know who the Pathfinder is." It's like, but it's like it's for those people who don't pay attention, it's like it's not gonna be him because he just said like he has a different path. So clearly it's gonna be his
Right.
daughter.
And she's not a weakling either. She was not like this damsel in distress. She
Right.
she fought
But
too.
it's just so crazy because Carl Urban's character was literally pathfinding. I mean, yeah, he was pathfinding for the Vikings, but he was literally doing the job description. And yeah, he's like, but then he's like, no, I'm not gonna be the
Yeah.
Pathfinder. You're the Pathfinder. I'm just like, it's annoying because it's like the first in the long steps of like, oh, man has to step aside for the the strong, capable woman.
Oh yeah. I was
Mhm.
curious as to what you thought about
I mean,
that.
I'm
Like,
willing to give it a
did
pass because
you?
it was like so early on with like the whole like, oh, the man has to step aside.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't mind it so much. It was okay. Like, I mean, the whole movie there. It's
No.
not a perfect movie by any means. It has a lot of flaws, but I enjoy myself. Absolutely. I was, what's like a little under 2 hours. I was engaged in the film. I thought it was good. I thought the action was amazing. The I liked I liked the villain. I liked our main character. Overall, it was a fun experience. It was something I was glad that I watched. It's I don't know if it would necessarily be like regularly in the rotation, but it's one that I will eventually, maybe come back to. I would actually like to buy if they have like a good Blu-ray copy of it or a 4K of it, and with like some good special features. I'd probably buy it. I think it's pretty cool. It was, yeah, just a movie that I had never heard of, never. And I'm actually super not. I haven't watched a lot of Carl. I've seen Carl Urban movies. Obviously, he's in like
He's in
Thor
yeah, Lord of the
Ragnarok,
Rings.
which I was like, oh yeah, he's in that. Lord of the Rings, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that's fuck yeah, he's in that too. And it's like I'm starting to discover all this stuff that like Carl Urban has been in. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, he's done a lot. And now, obviously, I want to watch the Judge Dredd remake.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, he's in the
So
boys.
it'll be no, yeah, I do know that. I love The Boys. The Boys is awesome. I can't wait for the new season to come out. Although the one of the girls, one of the main actresses on The Boys, like she's had this weird
Oh
trend.
yeah, yeah.
That's a whole
The
nother story. Like
something Mortimer,
her
Emily Mortimer, whatever.
yeah, like she went from being like really cute to like
Yeah.
a
I
freak
mean,
show.
yeah. She says that it's makeup and contouring and the angle was weird and like she had lost some weight. It's like I don't know, like how like deep your
Nah, dude.
like cheeks like sunk in. Like that's there's no amount of contouring that will do that. Like it looks
No,
like someone
fuck
took a
no.
yes, ice cream scoop to your face.
Yeah, it looks like she's like
Yeah.
holding at her cheeks like this. Like ew. Like would you get like Joan Rivers's plastic surgeon? Yeah, like what's
Yeah.
going on with you, girl?
Yeah, and it's sad, that yeah, she supposedly left social media because of bullying, but it's like, girl, you're an actor, all right. It's
No,
part of
no
it's
one's bullying.
again not saying that it's cool to harass people or whatever, but you're a public figure. You're in the public eye.
It's just more of like
Yeah,
out
and
of
yeah,
concern. It's
it's
like
more
what
people
happened to
saying,
you?
girl, why'd you do that? You looked great before. Yeah, she was.
She
Yeah,
looks
she was
super
very
hot.
like
Like
girl next
it's like
door,
I
all
would.
American. And then she turned into a Bratz doll.
Oh yeah, that's
That's the look.
that's right. That's the look. Ew. Maybe that's
That's
what
the
like
look.
people. But yeah, Pathfinder, fun
Yes.
movie. That was a good suggestion, Andy. Was this like a movie that you had kind of always wanted to watch and just hadn't gotten
Well,
around to it?
I actually forgot about this movie a little bit, uh, but then it kind of came back to the forefront of my mind. I forget how, but it did. And then we were kind of like talking off the cuff, um, on the stream talking about, oh, we should do a fish out of water sort of month. And I remember like you know, just remembering Pathfinder. It's like that's perfect because like here's this Viking kid like living amongst Indians, and so what's more fish out of water than that? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's fun.
All right.
Let's rate it.
Okay, I'll go. I'll start. I'm gonna give it a 2. Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
mean, it's not. It's not. Yeah, not
Just
super great.
not something that
Probably
you
something I won't be revisiting. Like maybe not anytime soon. Maybe not even
anytime
in a
soon.
decade. But I'm glad I watched it. But yeah, just like the color gradient, and then like the what is it, the no connection with the characters. Like we don't even know like their names really. It wasn't until like the credits rolled and I was like, okay, that's who that was. Oh, that's that guy's name. You know, and like and kind of like the kind of a derivative story with kind of like you see inspiration or inspiration or lifting from other movies or other well done movies. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you. I was like I was thinking about like a 2.5, but I think you're right. I think this is a 2. There are interesting things about it, but the idea for me, man, pick a lane on like you're almost at a
yeah,
black and white movie. Just go there. You can do something. I think it would make
I
the
know
movie
like
look even cooler. I've actually really I've I've noticed a trend where I think we're gonna have more black and white movies here coming up very soon. I think people are they're starting to realize that black and white film is beautiful
oh, so
again.
you're talking about a
I mean,
trend.
I've always known it, but
Okay.
yeah, I see a trend coming very soon where we're gonna see more black and white movies. I really feel like we're
Well,
moving
if
in
they're
that
newer,
direction.
maybe you could get your wife to finally watch one.
No, she won't.
What about? Did she watch the artist? Did she like that one?
No, no. So it had two knocks against it. It was black and white, and it was silent.
Ah.
It's so stupid. Why would you watch it? It's like it's not. There's no sound. It's like, oh, just you don't. I can't. I don't know how I can explain this to you. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
The Artist is a
I
great
love
movie.
that
I'm
movie.
actually I'm I'm gonna introduce it on Cinemigos too, just because I wanna cover it just because we enjoyed it, and I want to see if the guys will enjoy it. Because I asked, like, "Hey, have you seen The Artist?" So now this is this is my chance to show a we're gonna. So I might not be able to get away with some silent films, but I figure like
Yeah,
it's a modern
mhm.
silent film.
Yeah.
Check it
There are
out.
faces that you'll recognize.
Yeah. I'm actually kinda the one thing I'm gonna wonder how I'm gonna do this is that because we usually when we start the episodes on Cinemigos, we have, like, a clip of like, a clip from the movie just to kinda, like,
Uh,
lead people into our discussion. I don't know how I'm gonna do that with a
I know you're gonna have to
silent
describe it.
film. Yeah. I'm gonna we'll have to figure that out. I'll talk to Heidelberg about that. It's like, listen, guys, it's a modern film, but it's a silent film. What do you want to do for the opener?
Right. All right.
But yeah, two is a fair representative for this film. It's interesting. I would say at least check it out. Um, but yeah, like I said, I wish the movie was in black and white. I wish we got like maybe a little bit. Yeah, you said the more of the character connections, interaction, to make the deaths
Right.
feel more significant. But Clancy Brown nails it. Cool, awesome villain. He's great. Carl Urban, great as Ghost. Hell, I would have been able to if it was just those guys going at each other. Kind of them chasing
Yeah.
each other around the forest or whatever throughout the whole movie. I think you could have made something cool out of that. But yeah, It's an interesting film.
There you
Check it
have it,
out.
folks. That's our review for Pathfinder. Both Robert and I give this a 2. Can't give it. Yeah,
We haven't been that low in
seriously.
a while.
I don't. Yeah, I can't. I don't think we can give our full endorsement of this movie, but it's still a really interesting concept, and I would say we would still recommend it for just like for the novelty and for the if you never watched it before, and you want to see a really interesting concept being executed. I think it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah. We got a cool theme coming up next month. I'm so excited for this.
We will be honoring the work, the vision of the late great Gene Roddenberry, because what is it? I think April 15th is Star Trek Day, because in the fiction in the universe of Star Trek, April 15th, 2050 something, I believe, is when they make first contact with the Vulcans. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
April,
that's right.
Yeah, so April will be.
So that's cool.
Beam me up, Scotty month, or.
Yeah. What? Yeah. But we're gonna kick things off and
so we're gonna do Star Trek
with
we're gonna do
Star Trek
movies,
the motion
in
picture.
April. And like Robert said, we're gonna start off with the very first Star Trek the motion picture.
Yeah, and if you don't own them, they're all up on Max right now, HBO Max. So if you want to follow along with us, they're all up there. All the ones we're going to be talking about next month, they're all on Max. So
and I think
check it out.
And, I mean, unlike other channels, we're not gonna do like the obvious ones like Wrath of Khan or what is it, The Voyage Home, or even the much maligned
No,
Final
we're
Frontier. We're gonna start with the motion picture.
Star Trek
We're gonna
5.
start with
Oh my
we're gonna
god.
start with the first one, motion picture, and then Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, then into First Contact, and then
I have not seen the Next Generation films, so I'm excited for those.
Oh, then yeah, you're gonna like First Contact, and then we're gonna end it with what is it? Star Trek Nemesis. Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, something. So you have something to look forward to in April. Yeah, nerd it up.
Let's nerd it up next month, Andy.
Right, folks, that's our stream for that. With all that said, that brings us to the end of our stream tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. Thank you, Andy.
I hope it's your favorite day of the week as well. If you enjoyed this stream, don't forget to check out the library of other content that we have. Circle of Jerks main podcast. Old episodes of Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, with the movie reviews, as well as got Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, formerly Twitter, now X'd, and letterboxed at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us tonight. Come back next week, and we'll do it all over again. Have a good one.